Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to a sharp, horrifying pain, only to realize you've been mutilated. This was the chilling reality for John Bobbitt on the night of June 23, 1993. His wife, Lorena Bobbitt, in a moment of extreme distress, had done the unthinkable with a kitchen knife. The immediate aftermath was a chaotic whirlwind. Lorena, gripped by horror and panic, fled from the scene, leaving John in a state of shock and unimaginable pain. Desperate and disoriented, John was rushed to the hospital, his life hanging in the balance. Meanwhile, Lorena, driving aimlessly, found herself in possession of the severed organ. Overcome by remorse, she disposed of it in a field before turning herself into the authorities. As dawn broke, a frantic search ensued to locate the missing organ, leading to a successful surgical reattachment. As the sun rose, the Bobbitts were thrust into a media frenzy that would forever change their lives. But what could drive a woman to commit such a violent act against her husband? That's the question we've all been asking ourselves. To understand this, we must dive into the murky depths of the Bobbitts' marriage. Lorena claimed to have endured a continuous cycle of torment throughout her union. This torment was not limited to one form. It was a brutal mix of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. The scars of her experiences ran deep, and they were not just physical. The emotional trauma she carried was a heavy burden, one that would eventually lead her to a breaking point. Picture the desperation and despair, the feeling of being cornered with no way out. It's a dark place to be, and it's where Lorena found herself. Her life, as she described, was filled with fear and pain. It was a life she saw no escape from, and that's when she decided to take matters into her own hands. It's important to remember that this is not a justification, but an attempt to understand the mindset that led to such a horrific act. In Lorena's mind, she had no choice but to defend herself in the most drastic way possible. The world watched in anticipation as the Bobbitts' trials unfolded. A media frenzy surrounded the courthouse as the world waited with bated breath to hear the verdicts of the separate trials. First, there was John's trial. Despite the heinous accusations, John was acquitted of the rape charge brought against him by Lorena. A wave of disbelief swept through the crowd as the gavel fell. Then came Lorena's trial. The courtroom was tense, people on the edge of their seats as the jury deliberated. Lorena was acquitted by reason of temporary insanity. This verdict led to her brief commitment to a mental hospital. It was a shocking conclusion to a tale that had gripped the nation. In the end, both Bobbitts walked free. The trials were over, but the echoes of their story continued to reverberate. The scars of their ordeal will forever remain a part of public memory.